Ladies, you have two great offers.
What are you going to do?
Lori, will you go down to 25% for $50,000?
Wow.
Guys, I would have to really give you a lot of time and attention. Personal. My entrepreneurs get me. I'm on the phone with them. I'm calling the buyers. I'm doing the packaging. I'm working with them hand in hand. But I can't help you and really take over and make this work and give you all of that dedication for 25%.
Barbara, would you go down to 25%?
Absolutely not.
Whoa.
We're both in Manhattan. It would be a great partnership. It's, you know, we obviously have a lot of potential here, and we all have a very similar background to you. I used to flip real estate in Manhattan. Jess is a realtor part-time. She's willing to give that up for the company. We're very smart. Like, we know how we can deal with a lot of the minor issues in the business. We don't need complete oversight.
I don't mistrust you at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Would you be willing to go down to 25%?
Yes, I will.
What?
Deal.
Deal.
Congrats, Barb.
Sorry,
No,
Lori.
I wasn't. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for them.
That's great.
Thank you, Barbara.
Stop the madness. Get out to the audience.
I'm happy you stood up for yourself. Look forward to working with you. I'm sorry, I just had to do it.
No, you know what?
I just had to.
Barbara, why did you do it? You said you weren't going to go
I
down.
wanted to beat her.
No,
that's why. I did it purely out of my gut because I wanted to beat Lori, and that's the guy's
You
honest
are
truth.
Barb, that's
vicious
not why you should
tactician.
make a
What?
business
Pardon
decision
me?
just to beat someone
I've
else
made some
out.
what
really
that
great
deodorant does.
business decisions purely out of my gut with a desire to win, with no rhyme or reason, and this was one of them.
Barbara,
Well,
I'm so
listen.
excited for you.
Thanks, ladies, for being here.
Thanks for having us. This is insane.
Insane
Amazing.
in the best way,
In a great
obviously.
way. In a really good way.
But in this case specifically, what made you say yes?
I love the women. I felt as though they had every answer buttoned up. They looked the part. They looked like women that could create a great deodorant for some weird reason I thought in my head. And they were honest and direct when they answered the questions. They didn't waver on anything. They didn't break eye contact. They didn't get intimidated by the guys, nor Lori. They didn't feel offended that their offer wasn't. I figured they were going to be the kind of people who could take a hit and keep on ticking, and they certainly are.
And for you ladies, this is such a market opportunity. I mean, speaking as someone who really tries to avoid, chemicals, and aluminum is so prevalent in deodorant, and that's becoming, I think, a really big issue. You guys, how did you figure out that this was something to tap into?
We knew pretty early on. I mean, we had been following beauty blogs. We had been following a lot of the industry trends because it was just a personal interest for both of us. And we saw that one consistent thing is that no one could find a good natural deodorant. And that was what we saw within online communities and what we saw in the press that was coming out around the wellness industry. And we just got in at a great time. I mean, the industry is just growing so rapidly. It's a fairly new development, and it's now valued at $162 billion in CPG volume if you include all the wellness, food, vitamins, personal care products. So it's a great time to be into wellness.
Definitely. And I would say that it didn't even intend to be a business in the first place. I couldn't find natural deodorant that worked.
I know, none of them, literally, none of them work.
They don't work, but this one works. PiperWai works. And we're not just saying that because we made it. I mean, the reason we started the business, we tested it with friends and family first, and everyone unanimously said this works better than anything I've ever tried. And our customers, since we've launched and since Shark Tank overwhelmingly, say that it's a life-changing product because it works better than anything else on the market, and it doesn't irritate sensitive skin. It lasts all day through the sweatiest of workouts for both men and women, and we have a really great product here. And I think, like Sarah said, we got in the market at a really good time.
And for you two, I was doing some research on this, and the big challenge is, I know this is something one never thinks about, but finding a way to apply it on a stick. So, and you guys are developing that. Do you like my pantomime?
It's very nice. Yeah. We're working on a stick applicator right now. It's in development, hopefully to be released later this year. We want it to be perfect before we actually release it, but right now, it is a cream in a jar that you apply with your hands, not unlike applying a moisturizer, and it is very moisturizing at that, but it's something that a lot of people are, maybe a little concerned about when they first try it, but once they use it once or twice and realize how well it works, they're willing to, take on that extra application step because it works so well.
And Barbara, you've been in the, quote unquote business for a while. You're incredibly accomplished. Do you inherently know when you meet someone on Shark Tank whether they have what it takes?
I would be misguiding you if I said every time, but I generally have a very good instinct immediately when they don't have what it takes. And that saves me a lot of hassle of investing in businesses that don't pan out. You don't realize that on Shark Tank, each of those pitches are usually roughly an hour long. So we have the opportunity to question the entrepreneurs in the tank for a whole hour before we decide if we're going to make an investment. And what you see at home is usually 6-7 minutes of that interrogation. So we know quite a bit about them. What I'm always looking for, other than just, I guess, intuitively trusting someone right from the get-go or
with
not
your
trusting
money.
them. It's my money. It's not even about the money. It's trusting them with my time and energy. I don't have endless time nor endless energy. And so I want to make sure where I dole it out, it's rewarded well, not even in terms of money, even there, but in terms of that I get the enjoyment of working with someone who's really going to succeed. And so I'm very good at eliminating the losers, honestly, more than I am at picking the winners.
So what are your turn-offs?
Oh, there are quite a few, and the list gets longer.
Oh, I bet it does.
Fancy talk, someone who's super well educated from a top school and gets there and starts talking in code. I'm still trying to figure out what a lot of that code means. I keep meaning to go home and look it up next time, and I don't. But if they can't say it's simple, I'm turned off. If someone can't sell their product, I know I'm going to lose my money. If you can't sell your product, who's going to sell it? So you have to be a super salesman and communicate clearly. If you don't look the part, guy selling shrimp, and he's amazing shrimp, blah, 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 but he has blood all over his apron on national TV. I'm like, I'm out for sure, okay? Someone who insists that there's a need for a product and it hasn't been tested, and I'm sitting there and thinking, I don't think anybody needs that. They just want people to need the product. And the list goes on. But the most important ingredient really is how well the entrepreneurs take the hammering on Shark Tank. And hammering there always is, whether you see it at home or not, and how they stand up to it. Because the truth is, when you're on Shark Tank, it's like being hit by a magic stick by the fairy godmother, and all success is yours immediately. PiperWai sold $1 million worth of deodorant in like 3 days or something, right? That's a miracle. But what's more interesting is when their manufacturer didn't come through and couldn't bottle enough and couldn't get it out, and they had other issues, they stayed the course, and they delivered. That's the separation between the people who really do well and those who don't. They took the hits and they kept getting back up, and so they deserve their success.
And that actually brings me to Beyond the Tank, which is, I guess, the follow-up show. Is that the correct?
You can't believe, if you haven't watched it, shame on you.
Oh, no, I've
Goodness,
watched
it's the
it. I
best
just don't know
show
what
on.
the correct
Okay.
terminology is.
Then I would say shame on you, sorry.
No, I mean, I've totally watched it. The Peach ladies were my favorite.
Oh.
The Peach salsa lady.
Yeah, they're great.
None of you invested in them, and look at them
No,
now.
but they were great entrepreneurs, right? Why didn't
But-
I invest in them, by the way? What was I thinking?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what any of you were thinking, because then you look at their cafe and you're like, they've got it together. Like, they didn't let it stop them. But at any rate, so Shark Tank is like, show me the money. Beyond the Tank is what you do with the money.
Yes.
And you're right, that is the most difficult part, because for you guys, you haven't been on Beyond the Tank yet, but for you guys, having gotten the money, what has been the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge has been meeting the demand. As Barbara was saying, after the show.
Nice problem.
Yeah,
What a wonderful problem to
Problem
have.
to have.
We went through 2 different co-packers. One of them couldn't keep up with demand. The other one was churning out lesser quality products without us knowing until we caught them, in the middle of the issues that we were experiencing. And we have, at this point, we've gone through a lot of things that we never anticipated, but we just kept going, and we kept researching new production facilities so we could just get back up and start meeting the demand going forward.
And how does Barbara factor in here? Do you guys text her? Do you have weekly conference calls? Do you email? How does that relationship work once the show is done?
Barbara is very generous with her time, I think more so than the other sharks, which
Well, you don't know that.
we don't know that, but I can't imagine.
But you're
anyone
here,
that-
so we'll say that you are.
Okay, good.
Barbara's been wonderful to work with. She's very responsive to emails and texts, and so is her office, and everyone there is wonderful.
How did you guys discover that lesser quality product was being put out?
We started getting so many emails from people saying, we love your product, it was the best thing we've ever found, the best natural deodorant, but my second order is not the same consistency as my first order. Yeah. And we immediately, we were working with them on a daily basis in the facility, and the first test batch, it looked fine. And that's why we said go ahead and start putting out the products to market. And we had the quality control standards in place. So when we started getting these emails, went back to them, we said, why does it look different than it did, when we were testing it out? So we realized, we can't keep working with smaller production facilities. We need to go big. We need to just find a really great production partner, and that's what we're in the middle of, and we're very close to making that happen.
That's awesome. You guys are amazing. And good for you for seeing the potential and investing.
Look at them. I'd have to be a blind woman not to see it. Too bad you didn't invest along with me. Wouldn't you have given them the cash?
I could have given him my $20.
Thanks. I also do want to add that we did replace all of the affected jars, and we're definitely, we have a lot of integrity with our business. We never want someone to have a lesser quality product, and fortunately, the product that they got still was functional. It just didn't have the right texture that it's supposed to have.
And Barbara, I have to say, Beyond the Tank, one of the things I love about that show is how shocked people seem to be by the amount of work it takes to run a business. So that seems to be like the consistent theme, that they get this money and then they're like, wait, I work 10-hour days and then I go home and I get on what? I mean, this isn't what
I really believe that if entrepreneurs knew what they were signing up for, no one would start a business. You have to pretty much give up your social life if you're really going to succeed when the business catches on. You have to find a spouse who's willing to accept a lot less from you than they're probably entitled for. You often put off decisions to have children. I put that off for like 15 years. And your whole baby, your whole modus operandum, if you're going to do well in business, is you've got to hyper-focus. It ain't easy. It's like a field mine of traps that want to nail you and suck you down. And so you have to be on alert all the time, and you have to keep putting out. So, no, it's not easy to start a business, but what's great about starting a business is by the time you realize how bad it is, it's too late. You're already in over your head, So you have to keep chucking along and keep doing it, right?
Yeah, Sarah and
More than you thought, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, after Shark Tank happened, Sarah and I have never worked harder in our entire lives. It was exhilarating and wonderful, but also definitely the most stressful and exciting time.
And to follow up on that point, we still dream about our business. So even if we work 12 to 15-hour days, we go to sleep thinking about the problems we were working on and waking up with a solution. So it's just a 24-hour.
Constant. And I read a quote on Facebook. It was like, I don't have a 9 to 5. I have it from when I open my eyes to when I close my eyes.
Well, that's actually, that's commitment to your job, and to what you do. And I think that the whole idea of 9 to 5 is pretty passé, really.
Yeah, it's better than having a boss.
I could add, one great difference between someone who works their butt off at a big business and gets ahead and succeeds wildly, and the entrepreneur who's working equally hard, is it's easier to work hard, I feel, as an entrepreneur, because you're really working for your child. You're not working for a boss. You're working to birth a child and raise it and see how big and delicious it can get. And so you put yourself into it in a much more deeper way, I think, than you do when you're working for a boss. Same hours, sometimes even better rewards when you're working for someone else financially. But what you get when you're working for yourself is you're the queen or the king of the world, you're driving the boat, and you get all the satisfaction of knowing I did it, like that old Frank Sinatra song, I did it my way, that thing. Yeah. So it drives you more. It drives you more. It's a real gift you get when you have your own business.
Now I have to ask you, Ms. Barbara Corcoran. I read an interview.
I don't like the way you're saying Miss Barbara Corcoran.
Miss Barbara Corcoran. No, I'm actually really curious. I read an interview with you in Inc. magazine where you said you love being the boss. So being on Shark Tank was kind of a change up for you because you're part of a team. What do you love so much about being the boss? Because to me, it would seem like so much responsibility and so much like you live it and breathe it. You can never let it go.
Here's what's great for me, my personality about being a boss. I can't stand not having control. When you're the boss, I'm the boss of everything I do, even my husband Bill at home, and he doesn't like it, but he's got to accept it. I am the boss. I get to decide in my life how I'm going to spend every minute of my day, how much energy I'm going to put in it. When I start, when I finish, what color wallpaper I'm putting in my office door, what desk I'm buying, when I'm buying it, how much I'll spend, who I want to associate with, who I want to hire, who I want to say good morning to, who I want to fire. I am totally in charge of painting a world for myself with my hand exactly how I want it, and if nothing works out, it's my fault. I can change it. So who wouldn't want that? For me, it's the ultimate control and the ultimate freedom you get from being a boss and creating something from nothing. And may I tell you, if you talk to any entrepreneur who has built any kind of business, large, small, or in between, they are generally the most happy people on earth because they're satisfied over what they did themselves. There's a great satisfaction of not being given or even sometimes helped, but pulling it out. And that gives you great self-confidence, great self-awareness, and most importantly, great happiness. Entrepreneurs are a happy lot. Even if they started out miserable, in the end they wind up happy because they're in charge, and provided they stay in business, of course. Yes.
Well, so what has the transition been like for you on Shark Tank when you're
you
part
mean
of a crew?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. The first season or two, I couldn't stand having a producer who was my boss, told me which hours I was working, when I was going to be on set, when I wasn't, what he wanted more from me in performance, what he wanted less from me. I held back. I just wanted to tell him where to go every day on the set. Okay? But I really liked the job, and I liked the fact that I could invest in all these businesses, and even though I wasn't the boss, I could kind of boss them around a little. Okay. So I had a goal. I figured I'm just going to swallow my pride and see where this goes. I'm a good long-distance runner. But then by season 4, I realized I don't give a crap what he says. I'm going to be myself. And I've been doing that ever since. And it's a much better performance, I'm sure. It's much more satisfying for me. I'm a better partner because I decided I'm just going to please me like I always do. And you know what? Anybody in any job doing anything, if they please themselves, usually the whole world is pleased with you. It's the way it goes, but I kind of got lost in that because I wasn't accustomed to somebody telling me what to do.
Now, for you two, what advice do you go to Barbara for, or what questions do you ask her?
I would say how to be more aggressive in getting what we want. When we first went through the issues with our supply chain, we were going up against some very strong personalities that pushed back and said, you know, they were not going to give in to what we were asking them. If we said ramp up production, they said no, or you know, work past 5 p.m. some days, they said no. And Barbara's been really good at
No.
Yeah. Exactly. So she's been really good at, you know, kind of pushing us to be more aggressive in getting what we want, and really just, you know, kind of laying the law down a little bit more and being more firm with some of the vendors that we're working with.
I think if I could add, I don't think I helped you much on all of that because I think you were at the point where you were going to push and get what you want anyway. But I think I was helpful in saying, that guy's a loser, get rid of him. It kind of gave you permission to move forward, you know? Yeah, because I've met so many losers in my life that I spot them quick, like, he's using you, he's playing you, get rid of him, you know?
It's amazing. I just love the show because it's such a breeding ground for great ideas that you never would see out there because these people don't have the financial means to.
And if I might just say, the Beyond the Tank, I think, is the better show of the two. I'm not knocking Shark Tank, but Beyond the Tank is now on Friday night, 2 nights in a row with Shark Tank. Why I think that's the better show if you want to learn about business is it's right in the street, in the trash, everything going awry. It's not scripted. Nobody tells you what to do. Basically, it's here's the problem, and now let's see what they do with it. It's also inspirational because you see people plugging away and getting through the finish line, for the moment anyway, to the next finish line, to go to the next finish line. But you can learn a lot about business because in each episode, there's 3 episodes, 3 different problems that are, frankly, common to all these businesses. And you watch what people do with them. You'll either agree or disagree, but you'll at least find out if it works. And so I think it's the more valuable show of the 2.
Now, do you have to censor yourself when you're giving advice?
On Shark Tank?
A Shark Tank or Beyond the Tank? In the sense of, ooh, this might come off a little bit harsh, or maybe they're not ready for this.
Well, certainly on Shark Tank, I do censor myself because I have a filthy mouth, clearly. I try to break it, but it comes out, right? I'm a very good marketing person, so if I see something, like I remember there were 2 women that had a motorcycle clothing company. They were it was terrific stuff. They pull in a motorcycle. None of the guys liked them because they weren't feminine. And I'm looking at these girls who are tough as nails, middle-aged ladies. I'm like, okay, they're not sexy enough for the guys. I get it, all right? And then all of a sudden, I realized the only thing wrong with their business plan was their product name. I forget what it was terrible. And I said, you know what, girls, you would do? You would have changed your name to Two Dykes on Bikes. They loved it, but it was edited out of Shark Tank. Okay? They actually, I think, changed the name. Okay? But so this is a family show, and I've learned to kind of like edit myself a bit. But you know, it's no big problem because they edit you out if you say the wrong things, all right? And so it's kind of safe haven. Sometimes as sharks, we will say things outrageous to shock each other, just for the entertainment value, because we've been sitting on the set for 6 hours and we're going nuts. And so we'll just say something ridiculous just to liven it up. But the show benefits because we all laugh a little and we loosen up, yeah.
Now, do you have any regrets about things you didn't invest in?
No, I really don't, because what's great about the show is we hear 10 pitches a day. And if you lose one, right away, the next person's standing there. You don't have any time. And you're spending so much of your own money on that show, and you're losing 2/3 of what you put onto the show and hoping to make it back on the other third. Well, that's been my personal experience, that you just move on, and you know there's another entrepreneur coming down the pike. Yeah.
And for you ladies, what went through your heads when you were waiting to come on and give your pitch? Because that must have been like waiting to perform at the Olympics. Not that I have performed at the Olympics, but I would imagine that that would be comparable.
We knew our pitch inside and out. We practiced answers to any questions we thought they would ask, and we know our product, and we're very confident about our product and our customers' response to the product. So I think we were really ready, but Sarah had an interesting experience immediately before we went on that definitely got her adrenaline rushing, if you would tell that one.
Never heard this one.
This is a good one.
Did Ryan Gosling text you or something?
Not quite.
She wishes.
I wish that happened. We got the knock on our door that we were ready to go into the tank, and I was not dressed, so I ran into the bathroom with my hot coffee, put it on the ledge, and in the middle of changing for the tank, the coffee fell off the ledge and burned my entire neck and chest. And luckily, I had a very high neck dress that it didn't get, and nothing got dirty, it was just my neck. And I had burn gel put on from, the medics. And it got my adrenaline up, and within 15 minutes, the swelling went down, my dress covered up the burn marks, and I just went out into the tank and did it.
Wow.
If I had known that, I would have paid you more out of sympathy.
And you guys held your ground at 25%. That's amazing. You must have been in so much pain.
Yeah.
I was so nervous for her because we were, they gave us a tour of the set like right before we went on, like, okay, this is where you're going to stand. You have to come out to this mark on the carpet, and you're gonna, follow the cameras. And Sarah was getting burn gel put on her, so she didn't see all of that. And I was really nervous that she wouldn't know where to go. So after she came back, I gave her a really quick overview of what we needed to do, and then they opened the doors and the cameras were in our faces, and we went on and we did our thing.
Face on and did it.
I guess that's. See, had you known, you probably would have invested more, right? I mean, anyone who has that fortitude.
It makes me wonder what else they're hiding from me.
No, see, I'm like, look at their fortitude, and you were like, what are they hiding? I love that.
We totally shared that story on social media, I think, last week, so it's out there in the world.
And now for our audience, please.
Hey, ladies. Over here.
Oh, hi.
How's it going? My question is for Barbara. I know, like, the latest, the whole business world and, like, their operation has changed dramatically over the past years, with, like, Jack Welch and his Six Sigma rule, and, like, the latest trend of business tech companies having a very casual look. Has your command of your company shifted in any way? And do you think that's essential at all?
Oh, well, the main shift in my company is I used to employ 1,000 people at a real estate brokerage firm, and I sold it. So now I employ 6 people, quite different. Okay, it's less pressure, and it's a startup of itself if you think about it. I've been in this business, the TV space, now for 8-9 years. Okay. And so all the things that I thought were very important into building a large organization, having rules and how to dress, hours worked, not that I was a dictator, but many of those things when you're managing 1,000 people through layers of management, you really have to clean up the edges and make everything clear. I find with 6 people, anything goes. You don't want to work this week? No problem. Go on vacation. You don't want to dress up? No problem. You want to do this? No problem. Because the fact of the matter is, when you're small and fungible and everybody's willing to cover for each other, it's pretty easy in my business to be very loosey-goosey. So I'm not sure I'm smarter or even more effective, but this seems to fit this bill well, whereas my old managerial style was very effective in what I used to do. Does that make sense? Okay.
Next question, please.
Hi, guys. Thank you for being here. My question is also for Barbara. So I just wanted to know if you had any fan experiences where someone tried to come and sell you something on the street or tried to pitch you a business idea.
Pitch me a business idea?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Take yesterday, for example. I had been given 2 speeches in Houston, Dallas, Houston, back to back, to 1,000 people each. Okay, so obviously everyone, as I went to the stage, grabbed me and shoved material in my hand. Take my new business. Okay, so I broke through those 1,000, then another 1,000. Now I'm in the car going to the airport. I can barely talk. I'm coming off a flu that I traveled with. No throat left. Okay, my face is killing me from smiling at people, which I don't mind smiling. And the driver, hired by the sponsor, big corporation, pitched me on his business, and then got his brother-in-law on his cell phone, and he pitched me on his. All right. Now I get to the plane, and I realize, thank God, I have that mask on that I came 2 days ago to Houston with, which is one of those face masks so you don't contaminate someone. Because I had a hacking cough, and everybody on a plane doesn't want to sit next to someone who's hacking. You know that, they lean forward. All right, I'm making this story too long. But I realized I'm not going to let anybody pitch me on the way home. And so I put the mask on, turned around my ear. I put my black goggles on, my earphones on. I'm totally covered. I'm like a walking dead. I purposely offer the aisle seat to someone who minds. Could I have your aisle seat? Yeah, I'm in the middle of 2 very heavy people. And just as I'm leaning back, I can't sleep on a plane. All I want to do was hide. I have a 5-hour flight, 4.5 hours. All of a sudden, I hear in my ear, hot breath, really hot, wet. Mrs. Corcoran, I love your show. I said, I'm going to wear this one out. I'm going to pretend I'm sleeping. So I'm laying there going, I love it. I watch it. I knew this babe was not going to go away. And I'm thinking, wait, I have a man next to me. Who is this person? I open my eyes. It's the stewardess. And I said to her, with the name, excuse me, but I have a flu. I have a flu, and I can't talk right now. I don't mind. I'm a minister. I'm used to sick people. And she starts pitching me her business. All right, so in answer to your question, what was your question? There's a slice of a day where you can't get away from your work. Thank God I love people. That's all I say. I love people. I find them eternally interesting. But that one almost made me cry my way home. Get it? Picture it? Don't feel sorry for me. I'm a millionaire.
Next question, please.
Well, with that story, it's an honor to have you here and to share yourself with us. I wanted to ask you, all 3 ladies, with the gender wage gap and finances, and it's an honor to have you up here sitting here as entrepreneurs, as a millionaire. What would you like to give back to the community, and do you feel that you have a different platform to give back to women with everything changing?
I'll let the girls answer because I'll answer first because I'm a big mouth. There's nothing more powerful in life than a symbol. Okay, that's why we have worlds filled with symbols, all right? The best symbol of a woman succeeding in business is a woman who has succeeded in business, all right? I could be a symbol because I've lived my whole life and I've had great success as an entrepreneur. But I'm not going to resonate with people the same way my partners are. They're young women who took a leap of faith, one before they were even out of school, okay? Put everything behind it. You might say they got lucky, they were on Shark Tank, they got a boost. No, they competed with 10,000 people to get on Shark Tank. It was their conviction and their persuasiveness that got them there. And so they're a walking, talking billboard symbol of what can be done, all right? And for the women who are spending a lot of time trying to break glass ceilings, hey, all the more power to you. I don't have the patience to wait, okay? But if you could actually make your whole world like they have and succeed like they are, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be them? So this is the power. And that was an answer to your question. And again, I'm sorry, I can't remember your question, but it had something to do with your question, I hope.
Women in business.
Yes. Women in business. Symbols are the most powerful influencers for women in business, in my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you. For us, I feel like growing up, we never really had, no one ever told us that because we're women, we couldn't do something. I mean, we're millennials. We were told to follow our dreams and do whatever we wanted. So it wasn't until we started a business, we realized there were so many opportunities for specifically to help women in business get ahead, that we realized that it was a prevalent problem. But as for giving back to the community, we have a charitable initiative for our company. Once a quarter, I think it is, we have a discount code for 10% off on our website, and you give 10% of all of the sales generated through that discount code to a charity or organization. We're on our third one, I think, starting in July for young entrepreneurs, the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. And we had a couple cancer charities, breast cancer charities before that.
And you guys really are just starting out. So if you're already doing that, then imagine what you'll do when you're making $100 million in revenue, because really,
they're a baby, 1 year old.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that especially once you get this to continue the pantomime, which was such a hit, you guys like are gonna, you know. Next question, please.
Hi, thank you so much for coming. My family loves Shark Tank. It's the only show we can all agree on. And I was wondering, with your intense work lives, how you manage to balance your personal and business lives.
We live and breathe PiperWai right now. Before Shark Tank, you know, Sarah is a full-time MBA student at Columbia. She's graduating this week.
Congratulations.
Awesome. She was doing that full-time while we were growing PiperWai. I mean, people say they think like we have an overnight success with Shark Tank, but we put 2 full years of, or a year and a half, well, yeah, it was about 2 yeyears at that point, of blood, sweat, literally, and tears into our business.
Literally sweat.
I'm also a full-time like real estate agent in Philadelphia. I'm still kind of active. I have 2 closings next week, but that's how I made ends meet, and working on PiperWai was always kind of in the periphery, but we were still growing it and giving it our all, and we didn't sleep, we didn't take days off. I think the first day off I took in 2015 was Memorial Day, like full day off, including weekends and holidays, but it's just what you have to do. Our social lives suffer, personal lives suffer. Fortunately, my boyfriend is also an entrepreneur. He has a business, so he understands the lifestyle because he has the exact same one. But it's just, we want to be doing it because we love it so much, and it takes 99.999% of our energy and focus, but
yeah, I mean,
wouldn't
I
have
would
it any
say,
other way.
Yeah, you know, balancing your work life and your personal life as an entrepreneur, you don't feel like you're giving up too much. I mean, even though we did sacrifice a lot in our personal lives, and you know, me personally being in school, I would basically just tailor all my classes around the business. I would do my work for school. I would spend the rest of my time on the business. And you know, there were a lot of things that I missed out on in terms of networking with my other classmates, or you know, having a social life outside of what I was doing in school and with the business. But I didn't have any regrets, because every moment that I spent working on the business was tied to the future success of that. And so you see the direct benefit of the, you know, the passion and the time and the dedication that you have in the business to the success, and it really kind of just balances out and makes the trade-off worth it.
Yeah, it's that short-term versus long-term lesson that is our favorite lesson that we've learned in business so far. Live a few years like everybody else won't, so you can live the rest of your life living like everybody else can't.
Love it. And when can we watch this?
Friday night, double feature, Shark Tank and Beyond the Tank.
Thank you so much for being here.